My name's Hunter Cheney. I'm one of the directors here at the American Heritage Museum. Today is a special day. 80 years ago today, on January 27th, we commemorate the liberation of the war's largest concentration camp, Auschwitz-Birkenau concentration camp. So we felt it to be suiting that we celebrate the induction of this railcar and the media that we feature inside it on this special day. This is an original German GO3 railcar that was used by the Deutsche Reichsbahn during World War II. It was actually manufactured in the early 1900s and was used all throughout Germany in the war. And it was actually commandeered by the Americans after the war. The railcar eventually ended up in Nuremberg, and that's where Rob Collings saw it and was able to negotiate and acquire this railcar. And we went through about a 4 to 5 month restoration of the railcar. And now we've just completed the media that's shown from inside the railcar. What we hope is that people will not only remember this history, but will find this particular exhibit so moving that they want to learn more. There's a very well-known saying that I often use, and that is, for those who've forgotten history are condemned to repeat it. This surely is a reminder of this history.
Oh, thanks.
Welcome, everyone. Rabbi Josh, do you want to explain a little bit about the canning?
Thank you, Hunter. I'm Rabbi Josh Freindel, Congregation Bethel in Sudbury, just down the road. And Cantor Brookhuizen and I have just sounded the shofar. This is a Jewish ritual instrument, and we sound it at the new moons. We sound it at certain of our holidays. And in Jewish folklore and in our traditions, the shofar is an instrument that both assembles people, it grabs attention with that visceral sound that you just heard. It also serves as a warning instrument. It lets us know when there are moments that we have to not only come together, but also to be aware of what's occurring around us. And the shofar also serves to guide us. We're told in the Bible that the people were led through the wilderness with the sound of trumpets and horns, the shofar like this. And that's our purpose together today. We are assembling. We are learning from history. We are being warned by that which has happened in the past so that we can be guided forward with knowledge and with full power so that we ensure that the mistakes of the past and the horrible legacy of the Holocaust leads us forward with new awareness, so that never again will there be such a scourge on this earth.
Thank you, Rabbi Josh Freindel and Cantor Brookhuizen. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. We'd like to acknowledge and thank Denise Littlefield-Sobel and Stuart Jacobs for their financial support towards the restoration of the railcar and the immediate development. I'd like to thank Rob and Bob Collings for their guidance and insight in this exhibit, and Winokur Productions for their amazing work putting together this film that you see inside the railcar, and all the others who have dedicated themselves to this Holocaust exhibit. Today, we commemorate the liberation of Auschwitz-Birkenau, the largest Nazi concentration camp, on January 27th, 1945, just 80 years ago. And we remember the victims of the Holocaust. The Holocaust stands as one of the darkest chapters in human history, and it's crucial for us to remember this atrocity for several compelling reasons. First and foremost, the Holocaust serves as a stark reminder of the extreme consequences of hatred, discrimination, and prejudice. The systematic genocide orchestrated by the Nazi regime resulted in the mass murder of 6 million Jews, along with millions of others who were targeted based on their ethnicity, their political beliefs, disabilities, sexual orientation. By remembering the Holocaust, we are reminded of the devastating impact of unchecked bigotry and the intolerance, compelling us to actively work towards a world that embraces diversity and promotes inclusivity. It's crucial to remember and understand this horrific event so to prevent its repetition. Historical artifacts play a vital role in educating people about the Holocaust, and among them, this Deutsche Reichsbahn railcar holds profound significance in offering insights into this tragic period. By preserving this artifact and examining the railcar's historical importance, we can gain a deeper understanding of the Holocaust and its lasting impact on humanity. During World War II, Nazi Germany's national railway system, the Deutsche Reichsbahn, played a critical role in orchestrating the Holocaust. What was once a mere utilitarian means of transportation became a haunting symbol of suffering. Transformed into vessels of misery, these rail cars carried millions of innocent victims to a horrible destination from which many would never return. A logistical transportation infrastructure that enabled the state-sponsored persecution, mass deportation, and the murder of millions by Nazi Germany. Here at the American Heritage Museum, the display of this original World War II cattle car acts as a powerful symbol, connecting visitors to the reality of the Holocaust as inflicted by Nazi Germany and other Axis collaborators. Standing in front of this relic, one can imagine the unimaginable, the cramped conditions endured for days, the fear, the uncertainty, and the sheer terror that innocent men, women, and children endured as they were transported to their tragic fate. It is a tangible representation of the emotional connection to these victims. The international community must remain vigilant against the rise of extremism and totalitarian ideologies that threaten the fundamental rights and dignity of individuals. Education about the Holocaust and the tools used to execute this genocide serves as a powerful tool to cultivate empathy, tolerance, and understanding, fostering a global consciousness that rejects discrimination and upholds the principles of justice and equality. We encourage all of you to share this history. Share it with your friends, your colleagues, students, family, so to avoid its repetition.
Amen. Beautifully said. For me and for my family, the Holocaust isn't just a page in a history book. This is our lived experience. I grew up with the stories of my father's father taught me about how he fled his home, his livelihood, and left it all behind, just trying to escape with his life. My family is very, very small. Not because there weren't a lot of us, but because so few of us survived the Nazi scourge. 6 million members of the Jewish people were murdered as a deliberate policy of the Nazi regime. In addition to that, there was hatred enough remaining for members of the gay and lesbian community, for Catholics, for communists, for conscientious objectors, for Quakers, for anyone who would dare stand against Hitler and those who believed with him that hatred was the answer to the woes that befell Germany. We here are bearing witness. My life is a form of witness. My grandfather said to me that I have a debt of honor to this country who took us in, and to those who stood against Hitler and against the Nazis in Germany, and to those who fomented hatred beyond. Let's ensure that their memory continues as a vital blessing, and that the light that they brought into the world continues to shine, L'dol v'dol, into the generations to come. Cantor?
I'm preparing to light these 6 candles in memory and in honor of the 6 million Jews who were murdered in the Shoah. And I light them today also in memory and in honor of the queer people, the trans people, the disabled people, political dissidents, political prisoners, Poles, the Roma, and many other holders of identity that were deemed unworthy by the Nazis, people who were told that they should not exist. When we get in the business of telling people based on their identity that they do not exist, that they should not exist, that they cannot exist, when we start treating groups of people as numbers to be removed by quota rather than honored in the fullness of their humanity, we come perilously close to repeating the circumstances that we're gathered together here to commemorate. And that is why we have these twinned technologies of flame and shofar, of memory and of call, to remind us to lift our voices and use our hearts and our hands to honor and care for one another. We say, Yehi zichronam livracha. May their memory be for a blessing, to create the blessings of community and of support and of honor and of love in this world. Ken Yehi Ratzon.
Ken Yehi Ratzon, so may it be. Hunter, I think I'm about to surprise you. Because I believe that this space that we're in is a holy space. And I'll tell you why. Because in the Jewish tradition, memory is one of the most holy gifts that we're given. Memory is what we have as the greatest tool for passing on our values, the lessons that we learn, and our firm sense of self to those who come after us. Memory is a divine gift. And this is a temple to memory. This is a holy place. So let's talk about memory for a moment. In our weekly Torah cycle, each week we read from a different part of the Torah sequentially. we're reading right now the story of Pharaoh and the Exodus from Egypt. And there's a moment at the beginning of the story of the Exodus where it says, there arose in Egypt a Pharaoh, a new king, who didn't know Joseph. Joseph in Genesis had done wonderful things for Pharaoh and for Egypt. He saved them from a famine. And Joseph, had he not come on the scene, and if Pharaoh had not trusted this foreign Israelite with his internal policy, hundreds of thousands of people might have died. But they were spared because Pharaoh trusted in an outsider. But then this new Pharaoh came up. He didn't know his history. He didn't remember that Joseph and his brothers who settled there in Egypt had the best interests of everyone at heart. And so that new Pharaoh saw them as other. And he decided that they were dangerous. There were too many of them. They're going to form a fifth column. They might overthrow his government. Who knows what these outsiders might do? And so he started persecuting, step at a time. He made their lives unbearable. And step at a time, he worked to exterminate them. That's the story that we have in the book of Exodus. And that story is replicated time and again with countless variations through Jewish history as recorded in our sacred texts and in our historical texts as well. The next major Jewish holiday that we're going to be celebrating in the spring, and I promise you spring will come, is the holiday of Purim, when we read about the evil Haman, we boo when we say his names. He was so awful. And Haman had a similar approach to the Jews. He saw them as outsiders, people who couldn't be trusted to obey the laws of the land, and a people who, again, were condemned to destruction. Jump ahead 2,500 years, and Adolf Hitler had a particular fascination with Haman. You can read about it, and I would be delighted to speak with anyone here afterwards. He saw himself in a bit of a role as redeeming Haman. What he did not understand was that he was again repeating history, having forgotten this essential truth, which is that we are all made in God's image. That there is no human life that can be sacrificed without God weeping. Our tradition says that whosoever saves a single life is held as if they'd saved an entire world. Jewish tradition teaches of the holiness of every single soul, and it is that teaching that Pharaoh ignored, that Haman ignored, that Hitler ignored. We are here in this holy house of memory because we understand that that truth cannot be forgotten. And in fact, there were absolutely valorous men and women who stood up to say no to those who would bring that hatred forward. This place is a testament to that memory and to their honor. And we here are dedicating ourselves to the truth that the history behind these artifacts must not be repeated. What a blessing it is to us that we are able to reach out to touch. It's okay to touch, right? To touch these artifacts for us to say, this is real. This is true. And I am taking on myself the holy, sacred task of teaching this history to the glory of those who stood against those who stood to do evil. And so that hatred may pass from our life and from our lives. Each and every one of us has a part to play in this sacred task. I offer the words not of a rabbi, not of a historian, but of Pastor Martin Niemöller, who reflected so powerfully with these immortal words on the Holocaust. First, they came for the communists, and I did not speak out because I was not a communist. Then they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak out for me. May we merit to be among those who speak out. Let's remember our history. Let's remember the sacrifice of those who have gone before us. And let's continue to hold to the sacred and beautiful challenge of this place of memory, so that these words may ring true. Never again.
In the Jewish tradition, there is a memorial prayer that we chant when we are remembering those who we love who have died. We call it El Malei Rachamim. It's a supplication to God to enfold our beloveds who are dead under the wings of the Shekhinah, the indwelling divine presence. It's traditional to be standing in one's spirit and, if able, in one's body while this prayer is chanted. Today, I'm going to offer a version that was created specifically for the victims of the Shoah, of the Holocaust. And I'll chant it in Hebrew, and then I'll translate it in English. שוכן במרומים, המסה מנוחה נחמד תחת כנפי השכינה, במעלות קדושים וטהורים, כזוהר הרקיע מזהירים. את נשמות כל אחינו בית ישראל שנטבחו בשואה, אנשים, נשים וטף שנחנקו ושנשרפו ושנהרגו, שמסרו את נפשם על קידוש השם בגן עדן, בגן עדן תהי מנוחתם. ענה ברחמים, הסתירם בסתר כנפיך לעולמים. וצרור בצרור החיים את נשמתם, אדוני הוא נחלתם. וינוחו בשלום על משכבותיהם, ונאמר Amen. God, full of mercy, you who dwell in the heights, shelter them beneath the wings of your presence, high among the holy and the pure who shine like the brilliant heavens. Shelter them, shelter the souls of our siblings of the house of Israel who were slaughtered in the Shoah, small children, women, men, people strangled, suffocated, burned to ash. They revered your name. Their souls passed into your care. Let Eden be their resting place. Master of mercy, drape them and keep them forever in your protecting presence. Bind their souls to the living and to life. God, you are their inheritance. Where they rest, ease them with peace. And together we say, Amen.
Amen. Let's hold a moment of sacred silence. If you need to be seated, please do so. Otherwise, it's a sign of respect to remain standing if you're able to do so comfortably. Going to recite now the words of Kaddish. This is a formula that's recited when one is in mourning or remembering those who have passed from this earth. And the form of the mourner's Kaddish that we're going to recite is the traditional words in the Aramaic, interpolated with the caps, the concentration camps, labor camps, and death camps from the Shoah, from the Holocaust. In the Aramaic, we're giving praise to God because the temptation is to turn away sometimes when we're experiencing pain from the source of life. And we refute that. They open our hearts, even when it's painful, even when the names of these places of death still ring in our ears. Kadishetot. Yitkadal.
Schwitz,
Yitkadash.
Uj,
Shmer Rabba.
Onad,
Bialma Divrashinute.
Babiyar,
Biamnis Mafute.
Maidanek,
Bachayefon, Viomechon.
Birkenau,
Bachayed Hol Beit Yisrael.
Kozlu,
Bialma Rizman Kariv.
Janovska,
Vimeru. Amen. Yehei Shemer Rabba Mevarach Le'alam U'Lalemei Alamaya. Yitbarach V'yishtabach.
Serezinstadt,
Yitpa'al V'yitromam.
Buchenwald,
Yitnase Yitadar.
Treblinka,
Yitale Yithalal.
Vilna,
Shemed Kudsha B'richon.
Bergen-Belsen,
Le'ela.
Mauthausen,
In Kol Birchata V'Shirata.
Dachau,
Tushbachata V'Nechamata.
Minsk,
The Amiran Bi'alama.
Warszawa,
V'yimeru. Amen. Yehei Shalama Rabba Min Shemayim. V'chayim Aleinu V'yakor Yisrael. V'yimeru. Amen. Ose Shalom B'mromav. Hu Ya'aseh Shalom. Aleinu V'yakor Yisrael. V'yakor Yoshevei Tever. V'yimeru. Amen. May the one who makes peace on high grant peace to us, to all the house of Israel, to all who dwell on earth. And let's say together, Amen.
O say Shalom B'mromav, O Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'yakor Yisrael, Ve'yakor Yoshevei Tever. Ya'aseh Shalom, Ya'aseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'yakor Yisrael. Ya'aseh Shalom, Ya'aseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'yakor Yisrael. Ya'aseh Shalom, Ya'aseh Shalom, Shalom Shalom Aleichem, Ve'al Yisrael, Ve'al Yoshveitim, Ve'im.
Thank you very much for that. It was very moving. And from all of us here at the American Heritage Museum, from the bottom of our hearts, we thank each and every one of you for coming here and sharing in this history today. Thank you. That concludes our ceremony.